Hi, welcome to Retro Faith. Today we're looking at the strange relationship that existed between Sega and SNK at the turn of the century. Let's find out what happened. Hi, and welcome to the show. Today I want to explore the strange relationship that occurred between Sega and SNK at the turn of the century. Now, both companies had their problems during this time. Sega's Dreamcast was pretty much a failure, and SNK, who were famous for their Neo Geo hardware, were having trouble keeping up with the 3D graphics of the time, and their Neo Geo arcade system had pretty much become obsolete, even though it's still absolutely amazing. So what happened between the two companies? Well, it's really interesting actually. They both had their systems out, the Dreamcast and the Neo Geo Pocket Color. And at the same time, SNK were working hard to save themselves by teaming up with Capcom, who were their long-term rivals, as they both made very famous fighting games. So while all these strange relationships are happening, Sega and SNK got together to create a cable that enabled the Neo Geo Pocket Color and the Dreamcast to talk to each other. Now, why on earth would they want to do that, you say? Well, SNK and Capcom had been releasing games for both systems. Capcom had really believed in the Dreamcast and had started releasing many of their fighting games, and they also teamed up with SNK, as we just said, and lots of their collaborations were being released on the Neo Geo Pocket Color. So let's just take a quick look at the hardware before we delve into what this strange device actually did. Now, I have my Dreamcast here and I have my Neo Geo Pocket Color here, and as you can see, they're connected together. So this is the cable. I'm going to read out the name, it's a bit of a mouthful. The Neo Geo Pocket Sega Dreamcast Communication Connector Cable, and that connects the serial port of the Dreamcast to the extension port on the Neo Geo Pocket Color, and it allows the two to talk together. Now, this might be familiar to some viewers, especially some of my Nintendo fans. Now, if you've got a GameCube and a Game Boy Advance, you'll probably have one of these, a Game Boy Advance cable that allows your Game Boy Advance to speak to your GameCube, and there's various collaborations between games that allow you to use both systems at the same time. Marvellous device, and I know many GameCube fans and Nintendo fans in general will have lots of fun with that. But Sega and SNK did it first. So while we have this cable coming out around the turn of the century, and we've got Capcom and SNK releasing lots of games, let's try and find out a little bit how all this worked together. Now, unfortunately, due to the problems that both companies were facing, only 6 games managed to take advantage of the cable, and probably the one that took advantage of it the most was Capcom versus SNK, Match of the Millennium, which is pretty much the same thing, but on the Neo Geo Pocket Color. So what actually went on here? Well, it might help to explain a little bit about this game and how difficult it was to actually unlock all of the characters. Now, there was a bonus point system involved with this game that enabled you to unlock stages and secret characters and new music and whatnot. Lots of things. It was a really good game. There's so much in it. I thoroughly recommend it as always. But it would take a long time to get all the unlockables. If you just played this game, it would take hours upon hours upon hours just to unlock one character. You have to keep replaying and replaying and replaying. So while that was all going on, fans of SNK that had the Neo Geo Pocket Color were playing this game. Now on this game, it's great. It's got what's called an Olympic mode, which is basically just a load of mini games that allow you to, a bit similar to like Olympic Gold or California Games, but using the characters from the Capcom and SNK fighting series. You've got things like, slicing up bamboo or jumping around trying to avoid demons and stuff. It's a fun little mini game section. But while you're playing the mini games, you're building up a massive pot of points. Now, if you just played this game on its own, the points probably seem a little bit pointless and it's not very clear what they're used for. But once you use the cable to connect both consoles together, you could upload the points from this onto this game, which would enable you to unlock all of the secret characters and levels, etc. much quicker. Now, I had all this back in the day, and I used to play this on my way to work, especially the mini games, because they were just so much fun. And then when I got home, I would connect the two up and upload any points I'd won during the day from this game up into my Dreamcast game, and then carry on buying the characters and the bonus stages and whatever else it was. So that's pretty much all the cable ever did. It's a shame that both companies went under and we didn't see much more come from it. But it was a really interesting time, and I think Sega and SNK were trying to do something different to bring something to the market that nobody had ever seen. It is a real shame that only 6 games took advantage of it. But that's been the history of the Dreamcast and Neo Geo talking to each other via a cable. Let me know what you think in the comments. I think it's a really fascinating time in video game history. But let me know. So I've been Retro Faith. Keep it retro.